Hey guys, Jason here. This is probably going to be a little bit longer of a video than normal, and that's because we're going to be talking about this tool right here, the type tool. The type tool gives quite a bit of control, and we're going to have to go through some pretty, not complex concepts, but quite a few concepts here. So do remember that as you're using this tool, the contextual menu bar does change up here at the top, okay? But for the sake of time, I'm going to go through and choose my character palette, and I'm going to drag it out here, and then I'm going to choose my paragraph palette because these are two palettes that I'm going to be using during this demo. So first things first, the type tool, super simple. You can use the type tool a couple different ways. You can do what's called point type, which is where you click and you start typing. And I'll just use the word typography here. And then the next way is you can do the area type, which is where you click and drag and your text stays inside of a box. It is constrained to that box. If the box changes size, the text will automatically reflow and refill that box in order to fill the text properly. So this is obviously really nice for paragraphs, and then this is really nice for if you're going to make a custom type treatment, or if you're going to do a single word of typography somehow. I tend to gravitate towards this. I don't do a lot of paragraph work inside of Illustrator. I do a lot of that stuff in InDesign, so I don't usually use that. But there are times where I do, so just know that it is available to you. As you're going through and using the tool, it's important to know how to format this text, okay? So super simple. With the type tool, if I click and highlight this word, let's increase the point size here. All right, right now I'm using the Typeface Myriad Pro. Let's say I want to change the typeface. If I change this typeface to something like Ziggurat, that gives me a different look, right? I can go through and highlight my text, and I can choose to adjust tracking and kerning. So if I click here, I can expand out the letters and how far they are from each other. And I'm going to set that. This is called tracking. If I'm going to work with that, I'm going to set it back to 0. But let's say I just find that, there's certain letters that are too close to each other and don't feel quite right. I can take my cursor and place it between those two letters, and instead of hitting the space bar, which gives me very little control, if any at all, I can go in here and increase ever so slightly, right? You guys can see me clicking 25, 27, 29, 30. I can adjust the spacing. Oops, sorry. And that gives me a little more control over how these letters are spaced. You see the G is crashing there. We don't want that. So we can go in here, and I think this is probably going to be set to right around 50. Pretty good guess. I might go play the lottery later. But you guys can see that gives me a little bit of control, okay? A couple of things to note inside of the character palette is that you do have some distortion methods. These here, so this is going to decrease my overall vertical distortion by squishing the text. And then this one over here is going to stretch that text and make it wider. You don't really want to use these guys because they kind of distort the typeface, and the typeface was designed to look a certain way, and it decreases the legibility, all right? There's some other functions down here like small caps and all caps. So if I have this word typed in lowercase, I can click all caps and that will give me everything in uppercase. Okay. And then if I want to go through, I can do this in small caps. You guys can see the difference there. This is a full capital. This is all small capitals. These small capitals are the same height as the lowercase. Let me do this one, change this one to not small caps. It's the same height as the X height of these lowercase letters. So if I was to type an X, there's my lowercase x. But if I was to type an X here, they are slightly different. It's hard to see, but let's zoom in here so you guys can see. And I'll just give you guys a little extra because typography teacher. So look at this part right here. It's a little wider than it is narrow here. So it is a very different look, okay? So there's lots of things you can do with this. If you're inside of the paragraph, the area type tool, let's just get some text here, and let's do this at 7 points, and let's use a typeface that's appropriate for copy. Oh, I don't know. Let's just choose Times New Roman. Let's do italics just because that's easy. And I'm zoomed in nice and close here, so I'm going to drop down to a lower point size. But I can go through and type different words. Okay, I have a couple of different things that I can do here. When I open the paragraph palette, I can left align, I can center my text, I can right align, and I can use what's called justified left. So that means it's going to justify the words in the paragraph, but then it's going to left align the bottom line. You have other options over here. You have justified center, justified right, and then you have force justified, which flushes everything over. Guys, I tend to kind of gravitate towards this area over here. All right. So that is the type tool, paragraph tool. Depending on what typeface you're using, you have different features that can be set. Inside of the type tool, there's also, let me grab this. So if I go to, just so you know, this stuff exists for the future. And I recap all this stuff for you guys in the typography class, but just so you guys know, this is called a glyphs palette. And if I go through and type with, let's see here. Let's do the word candy. And I think I probably have this typeface active. I do not have Candy Script is the one I was looking for. Let's grab one that has some alternates in it. Maybe this one does. Yeah, let's see here. So if I highlight, highlight the C, and up here I go to show alternates for current selection. This will give me some variations to this typeface. This one's not doing it for me, so let's find a different typeface, because that one gives me all sorts of weird elaborations that don't really work for what we're doing. Let's find a good one. Probably should have picked this out before I started this video, huh? But I didn't think I was going to show this to you, so maybe Hangbird might have some. There you go. So Hangbird has a couple of extras. This is the default C, but if I double click this one gives me a different C, right? The A, I can have an A with a long elaboration. And you're like, why would you ever want that? Well, it depends. If it's the last word or last line, right? So if it was, let's do the word alpha, right? There we go. There's my A. Has a little bit of styling to it, right? A little bit something extra. So let's type that or highlight that A again. It does not want me to highlight it. Oh well, you guys get the point. There it is. Sheesh. Good gracious. Oh, it wants me to highlight the whole thing. Good Lord. I can go through and swap this to different A's that are available to me, right? So fun stuff to play with, guys. The type tool is really powerful. Click around with it, mess around, ask questions. But shameless plug, if you guys find yourself interested in this, you should definitely experiment with nice typefaces, right? Go to Google Fonts, find a nice typeface, really take pride in what you're doing as far as typography goes, and your designs will excel. So sorry for the 9-minute video. Part of that was me messing up, but I appreciate you guys taking the time to watch it. And if you need help, feel free to reach out.